Hi, this is Courtney, and I'm giving an update on my capstone project. I'm building a WordPress website for my fantasy football league. So I've got the site, the install up and running. I'm using SiteGround as my hosting provider. I've got my domain in place, pretendfootballleague.com. That's the name of our league. We call ourselves the PFL, the Pretend Football League. So I wanted a domain that would be easy and that the users would be able to find. I have the benefit of knowing exactly who my users are. It's the other 9 members of my league, hopefully. So I definitely want to build a site that works for them. Since I have access to all of them, I know them, I can talk to them. I've had them very involved in the process so far. I've shown them wireframes and kind of actual working models because I really want their feedback because I want them to use the site after it's completed. One of the things that they've been testing for me are tables. I'm serving up a lot of tabular data on the website, which I know is not ideal, but there's really no way around it. I've experimented with other methods, but really tables are the best way to kind of show some of this data. So one of the tables that they tested for me is this keeper lookup table with the filtering and search, and especially how it renders on mobile. That was a concern they had with the wireframe. They weren't able to see that, so I gave them an actual working model to test out on their phones, and they decided which mobile option was best, and that's the one I'll use moving forward. What this keeper lookup table will do is it will use this custom database table that I'm building with a custom database plugin, and it's going to look at players across the league who have been drafted the past couple of seasons, and it will determine if that player can be kept or not. Our fantasy league is a keeper league, which means from season to season you can keep 3 players on your roster, but there are rules. You can't keep the player more than 2 consecutive seasons. You can't keep a player if he was drafted in the first round. So I'm trying to build a database table that will serve up that specific information, so that if you look up a player, the database will look and say, was he kept this year, was he kept the next year, consecutive years, that means he can't be kept. And this field would become no. And similarly, was he kept last year, then he can only be kept 1 more year. So that's what I'm trying to build with this logic in this custom database table. That's been the bulk of my effort, is actually getting this data to feed this table correctly. Another table I've been working on is our draft board. Every year we have a draft, and the commissioner had been sending out spreadsheets with the entire draft order as well as individual players and who they had. He wanted something simpler. He saw this interface and he liked the way it worked. I kind of had envisioned the draft board looking different, but it made sense to me when he saw this that he thought it could work for the draft board as well. So I made him a draft table, and we were playing around with it on the back end. I showed him how it would work, how he would edit it. He was fine with it. I don't know that it's ideal. It's going to be 100 entries, and if a draft pick gets traded, which some of these you can see have, he'd have to come find the specific entry and just type in. So this was Matt's pick originally, traded to Nick, traded to Mark. He said he doesn't have a problem just going into this table, finding the fields, entering it. I'd love to know if anybody has a better solution. I was thinking maybe even like a form or something that he could do. My concern with this manual process is that if he types in a name wrong, or if he changes the convention for how he's typing in the team names, it's going to throw off the filtering and the sorting that happens in the search on the front end. So there's just like an element that could go wrong with it being so manual. It's a better process than we have right now, but still, if somebody has a better idea, that would be really helpful. And the other thing that's been kind of interesting and fun to work with is I set up a Slack channel for our league. That has been great. I've been using it regularly to communicate with league members. When I want them to test something, I just send it out over Slack. They've been super responsive. They're really excited that they've actually seen, when they saw the wireframes, they were excited that I was going to build this, that we'd have this as a tool. But when they've actually gotten to test some of the more fully realized models on their phones and on their laptops, they've been very excited. So the user testing has gone well. I'm going to continue to evolve them as I move forward with development on this, but that's kind of where things stand now. Thanks.